Well, in the last couple of hours, the US has announced that it's going to send an envoy to Libya to meet members of the interim National Council, an indication that things are already beginning to be ramped up. But let's talk to someone who knows about this area, Marco Vincenzino from Global Strategy Project. You are analysts for the Middle East and North Africa. What do you make of what's developing now at this conference? They are increasingly assuming that Gaddafi is going to go, aren't they?
I mean, it's a continuation, rather the beginning of a process to bring legitimacy to the opposition. It can't be done overnight. It's a process that's happening right now. Obviously, the French took the first step. Others will follow soon. But this conference in particular plays a very key role in it, so that the world at large can begin to identify with the post-Gaddafi era. The only problem is that if this thing becomes a protracted stalemate, you're going to have a regime in power that controls part of the country and an opposition that controls another part of the country, but with international help.
Well, that is a problem, isn't it? Because if it does become protracted, how far would NATO be willing or able to go in pursuit of any ultimate goal?
Well, basically, for now, boots on the ground have been put off the table. President of the United States said so, and NATO has made that clear. But then again, you have a UN resolution that says any necessary means. So, for example, if areas within government control, you would see atrocities increasingly being committed, that can elevate or augment the case for an international intervention with some boots on the ground. So I think it would be in a very limited fashion, but obviously the realities on the ground will dictate that.
And arming the rebels, that's something that the US ambassador to the UN has said she would not rule out completely at this stage. So that's a possibility.
Reinforcing the rebels. Now, when you say reinforcing the rebels, you obviously have some army units, that are quite a few, that have defected with already some basic military training. On the other hand, you have other elements with absolutely no training whatsoever. Training those elements, or the untrained elements, will take time. I think in the immediate term would be to reinforce the existing elements of the Libyan military that have defected, and reinforcing them. They can play much of a larger role as opposed to the other ones.
Marco, thank you very much for joining us and giving us your viewpoint on that. Well, as we've been hearing, it's a hugely complex predicament now that these international leaders will have to find their way through, and of course the opposition groups themselves may think that they may have to include some of these Western influences in shaping